Lagos, Nigeria. I had my primary education at Lagos Progressive Primary School in Surulere, after which my dad being a Reverend Father, we moved to Benin City, where I had to finish my primary education. This was during the Nigerian Civil War. So in 1967, we moved back to Lagos. And I started at a Boys High School, my secondary education, and finished at Awori Comprehensive High School in Ipaja. After which I proceeded to Ogun State Polytechnic and studied applied chemistry. I served my NYSC in Bauchi State, Bauchi College of Arts and Science, Bacchus. I was a chemistry lecturer, after which I moved back to Lagos and started my own business outfit called Lloyd's Organization. During those periods, I started as a political activist while in school, in college. I was the student union representative, my class rep during my OND days. And my second year in Ogun State Polytechnic, I became the Speaker of the House. And in my final year for my HND, I became the student union president. During the time of General Muhammadu Buhari and IDEOLOGIES, who at that time banned student unionism. So that was my first encounter with the current president, because as I was becoming president of the student union, he became the president of the nation, but he banned student unionism during that time. During that time, I worked for the Unity Party of Nigeria under Chief Bisi Olabisi Onabanjo. I was the youth leader in Ogun State, which I got to meet Chief Obafemi Awolowo in Ikene, and I became an Awoist. Along the line, I worked very tremendously under the UPN as a youth leader, and then we moved to Lagos State after my service, and I joined the Social Democratic Party at that time. At that time, the SDP fielded Chief MKO Abiola, and those of us who are very young and active, we worked to make sure that he got elected as president. After Chief Abiola was elected and the election was annulled, some of us were aggrieved, and we took our case to various ways of religion. But when the annulment came and Chief Abiola was imprisoned, those of us who worked actively in the campaign out of fear went into exile. So that was my journey to the United States of America. While in the US, we continued to put pressure on the military government and worked quietly with NADECO and other organizations that wanted the military rule to stop. In 1999, I was called to return to Nigeria for politics, but I had started my healthcare practice. By profession, I'm a nurse and I'm a healthcare administrator. I have various other degrees in the US practicing medicine. But that notwithstanding, I never left politics. Even while in the United States, I continued to work with the Democratic Party in the US. And I formed the Yoruba American Community in the year 2000. This organization protects the Yoruba in the state of Michigan. And we take care of the welfare of the Yoruba people. And it transcends to become a very big organization that even those running for politics or for offices in the U.S., they cannot do without asking for our votes. So we can sway elections. And the Yoruba American community is still existing. I was two-time president. And I think we have the 5th president right now on board. I also served, we also have the Nigerian Foundation, which is the umbrella of the Nigerian community. And I also serve as their program director. But by and large, the fatherland, the service to the fatherland being on my mind, in 2007, I decided that we need to get good bills into the House because we are a young democracy. And based on that, we need to get in our legislators right. So I ran for Senate, Lagos West Senatorial District under the People's Democratic Party. And in 2011, I ran for the House of Reps in Amuwo Odofin local government. I had manifestos then to run in both constituency, but because of the way and manner elections are run in Nigeria, which is money politics, and I being one of those people that do not believe in money politics or giving money to electorates, both elections didn't go very well. But what I took away from that is that Nigerians will continue to give money to electorates and don't give them services. So I took my manifesto, went back to the United States. I have been instrumental to supporting 2 mayors to become mayors, 2 Americans to become mayor in the city of Detroit. And during the time of Barack Obama, I was part of the campaign organization in Michigan, and he won 2 terms. So basically, based on what is going on in our country, I decided that as a youth, with the know-how and experience of both local and international politics, it is time I come home to serve my fatherland. So I am here from the diaspora, running for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria under the Save Nigeria Congress, SNC. It's a new party, but it's the credible alternative party to APC and PDP. And we hope Nigerians will accept the credible alternative because APC has ruled us and we have seen what they can offer. PDP has ruled and we have seen what they can offer. But what both parties can offer is not good enough for Nigerians. What we SNC have to offer is a lot more advanced that fits the 21st century development, and Nigeria can be developed within 8 years. Yes, why politics? Very interesting question. A lot of my friends have asked the same question, that why politics, why Nigeria? But the thing is this, every day we all live, we're all politicians one way or the other. At work, you're a politician. At school, you're a politician. The only difference is that those that hold offices politically are usually known as politicians. But unfortunately, we all play politics day by day. I am not a career politician. Like I said in previous interview, I'm a career healthcare practitioner. But why politics? The reason is very simple. To contribute to serve the country is a selfless service. But unfortunately, in Nigeria, it is a system of making money. Usually in Western world, politics are for those a second career. You have to first of all have a basic way of making money, of having your own practice or doing something. Then politics is your contribution to serve your nation. But in Nigeria, it's the other way around. Politics is the first job, then they probably don't have a second job. Why politics for people like me is because our nation, Nigeria, was our founding fathers built this nation with the hope and promise that Nigeria would be the giant of Africa. But unfortunately, career politicians have changed and turned that giant of Africa into a very sad and disintegrating nation. I'm telling you as I speak, our forefathers, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Alhaji Tafawa Balewa, Chief Okadibu, and many more, will be reeling in their grave, knowing fully that the country they sweat and toiled for to get independence from the British is now ridiculed with violence, with fear, with death of innocent lives, with hunger, poverty, starvation, lawlessness, name it, corruption. That is not the Nigeria they dreamt of. That is not the Nigeria we want to leave for our children. So those of us, especially those of us in diaspora who have had the opportunity to see the other side of the world, now feels that if we do not participate in politics, then we are going to have to settle for ignorant fools ruling us. There's a saying by Socrates. Socrates said, if the superiors do not participate in politics, then you should get ready to be ruled by the inferiors. Those that have led us have tried. But unfortunately, their idea is archaic. We are no longer in the 19th century. We are no longer in the 20th century. We are in the 21st century, moving to the 22nd century. Time is moving fast. Technology is advancing. But Nigeria, who is supposed to be the leader of Africa, is still way behind. Yes, improvement, but we have a long way to go. Compared with Malaysia, compared with Singapore, these are countries that were par with us in 1980. But today, they have technological advancement. They have 24/7 electricity. They have import and export that does not depend on oil. Their infrastructures are modern railroads. People are not wallowing in poverty. So people like me felt that staying out of politics is allowing our people to suffer, is allowing those that do not have the wherewithal or know-how to influence policies that are affecting millions of lives of people. And that is why politics, that is why I am running for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to bring great fresh ideas on board. For example, 180 million people. We are not that much compared with China, who is 2 billion, with India with 1.5 billion, United States 200 or 300 million. But these countries are advanced in so many things. With 180 million and the resources we have in Nigeria, the world should be looking up to us as a world power, not as a struggling country. We should be the country that the rest of the world will be saying, wait a minute, we are not going to let you go nuclear. We are not going to let you develop nuclear weapons. But rather, we are still begging for money to feed our people. We are still taking loans to develop our money. Nigerians do very well in every country in the world except Nigeria. Why is that? It's because those countries provide enabling environment. Go to America, go to Britain. Nigerians have the best doctors in the world, the best nurses in the world, the best physiotherapists in the world. But they are all serving in various nations. They are serving elsewhere except Nigeria. Our politicians run abroad to get treatment. Why can't they stay home? Because they have not developed world-class hospitals. The people are very hungry, but it's very easy to fix. There is a system that has to be in place. If I'm elected president, that in 100 days we will have a system in place that every Nigerian will have a meal, will have something to eat, whether they are employed or unemployed. And when we eventually bring employment, we will ease them from welfare to work. These are things that does not need rocket science. They are very easy things to do. Our healthcare system, we don't even have an insurance system that works. Our infant and maternal mortality is too high. So these are the things. Educational system has broken down to pieces. Nigeria can run free education at all levels if we want. We can afford it. Very well much. Infrastructures, yes, we are building, but at a slow rate. Our airports, we don't have world-class airports. Yes, we are trying, but it's still not good enough. And we need to subsidize oil. Oil is the only source of money that brings in dollars or world currencies. Now, reserves. We need to bring in agriculture. The other, PDP has tried it, they have failed. APC has tried it, they have failed. And that's why SNC is bringing to the table. Within 2.5 years, agriculture will merge oil to oil. We will not depend solely on oil any longer. The next millionaires are going to be farmers. We need to attract our young graduates to come into farming. And that's the way we can now switch things and move forward. But if we continue to depend on one sector of the economy, then we won't move forward. Another thing why I came into politics is because Nigeria has been looking for a credible alternative for a long time. We gave PDP 16 years. They could not move the needle. We thought APC would do better. But what do we have? Insecurity. People are complaining of hunger. The youth unemployment have gone up. And I wonder what is going on. Why is our politician not solving this problem? Then I found out, I came to the conclusion, it's not that they don't want to solve it. The president wants to solve these issues, we have these challenges, but he doesn't have the know-how. He doesn't know. You can only do to the best of your ability. We now need fresh ideas, fresh youths. I can tell you that in 4 years, Nigeria will leave the status of developing and become a developed country. In 4 years, no Nigerian will go to bed hungry. In 4 years, we can reduce unemployment to less than 5%. In 4 years, every Nigerian child should be in school. In 4 years, agricultural export and import should bring in half of the country reserves. In 4 years, infrastructures should be in every state. We are going to build 6 world-class hospitals comparable to Johns Hopkins. One is going to be in each geopolitical zone. And I tell you, politicians don't have to go abroad. Instead, those brain drains, those medical doctors, nurses, healthcare practitioners will come home to practice. And you will see other countries come to Nigeria for healthcare services. So We have things like that. We have to develop our entertainment industry beyond Nollywood. We have to bring them into Hollywood status where they have their own city. We have to bring the music practitioners up. We have to develop our tourism. We have to develop every sector of the food simultaneously. Right now, what we are doing is we are developing one by one. But no, they got to run concurrently. Every development has to run concurrently. Industrialization. If I'm elected president, in 2.5 years, that's the status we have. That is on blueprint. We will harness enough energy to power our electricity that we will have constant electricity 24/7. No more power outage. And once you can achieve that, industrialization begins. Small businesses begin. Then we open main market. If our mainstream economy is developed, then we bring back the middle class. So which means every Nigerian can achieve the Nigerian dream. My proposal of the Nigerian dream to the youth is, once you graduate, you are supposed to get a job. You are entitled to an employment. You get a job, you have a family, you own your own house. It's as easy as that. Every Nigerian youth is entitled to that, to a good life, a good family life. And national security, we have allies. Our men and women of the police and armed forces should be paid according to the status, world-class status, so that comparable to their comrades abroad, if we pay them very well, they will police the country. Security to lives and properties will be safe. A nation where its people sleep with one eye open, it's not going to be a productive nation. You want people to sleep and go to work the next day being afraid all night long, their brain. So we are not doing enough to help our people. We want to create that enabling environment for Nigerians, that every Nigerian should have access to being rich. And the only way you can be rich is if you give them the basic amenities: electricity, water, good roads, infrastructure, food, and then they will find their own part. And that is what we intend to do in our first 4 years. And after that, we will continue to build, and subsequent presidents will build on it. So that is why politics. Dwell on challenges of the problem. Every Nigerian knows the problem of Nigeria, whether small, young, or old. Even babies know the problem of Nigeria. But I always try to emphasize and concentrate on solving those problems. The problem of Nigerians are not far-fetched. It is because of bad leadership, and then greed and avarice of our political office holders. You asked the question of implementation. Implementation of those ideas that our current political leaders have found difficult to implement is because they have put the wrong people in the wrong position. If you put a square peg in a round hole, of course it's not going to fit. So you need a round peg in a round hole. There are lots of honest, hard-working Nigerians. When you want to select people for political office, whether by appointment or election, you need to really search and dig deep. If you put someone in any ministry and he doesn't have the technical know-how, of course, it's going to fail. You can be a good leader. If you are surrounded with bad advisors, your regime will not succeed. And that's why some bad leaders who surround themselves with good advisors, often they excel. I intend to search the length and breadth of Nigeria and look for honest, hardworking Nigerians who they might not be experts, but who have the know-how of certain area. For example, I am an health insurance specialist. If you put me in National Health Insurance Health Scheme, it is definitely I will do well because it is my area of specialty. But if you put me in the Ministry of Agriculture, I might try, but it's going to be bits and pieces. So what I intend to do when I become president is to look for Nigerians in various walks of life who will fit into the different area of specialization that we're going to implement. And let me give you another thing. Every Nigerian or everyone is an expert in their own field. So we have 180 million Nigerians. Once you're above I can even tell you that there's nobody that is useless. You just got to put them in the right spot. So if you put them in the right spot, they will definitely perform very well. There are some ladies, let me give you an example. Some young ladies, they are probably artists. They are probably, if you say they know how to develop or smell flowers, such people, you put them in the banking sector, it won't work. But you open a flower shop for them, and you will see them grow that flower business into $1 million business. Then you wonder, how did it happen? Because she loves flowers. That's what she does. So you just have to discover them and put them in the right spot. That is how to implement programs. Then the second part of implementation is accountability. When you put people in positions of authority and there is no follow-up, of course, those projects have failed automatically. If I ask you to build me a bridge or a school, and I sit down in Aso Rock, and I'm expecting you to build a bridge or a school, and in 4 years or maybe 2.5 years later or close to the time for re-election, I come back and say, where is the school? And you have not built it. Of course, you are not the only one that failed. I have failed. And that is what is going on right now. But if you know that I give you this contract, build me a bridge and build me a school, and the next 60 days, I'm asking that, why is it half done? I need my school in 200-300 days. I need my bridge in 365 days. And I don't want substandard materials. And then every day, you find somebody on site supervising those projects and giving back the reports to me. It's either you don't do it and I take my contract away, or you are doing very well and then you get rewarded for it. So the second part of it is we are not holding our contractors accountable for anything. We are letting them have a free ride. So at the end of the day, it's either they build it and give us substandard products, or they don't build it at all and the money disappears. So in Save Nigeria Congress, when we give out projects, we are going to roll our sleeves. I'm not going to be a sitting president sitting in Aso Rock and then waving to Nigerian people. No, I'm going to roll my sleeves. I'm going to go to work for the Nigerian people. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to have people. You see, they said no job, no job, no job. Is supervisor not a job? So when you give projects out, appoint people who are going to follow up with the job. Appoint somebody who will do that again. And then when the reports comes, then don't be afraid to fire people. Don't be afraid to fire people. Don't be afraid to hold people accountable. Don't be afraid to take people to court. Those are the things that are lacking right now, and those are the problems that we intend to solve. We intend to bring those ideas on board. We intend to implement those ideas, and we implement to hold those, we give those things accountable. Once they are accountable for it, then everything goes well. So, and that is it. And then technology makes things easier these days. You don't even have to run after anyone. If everything is done right from beginning, you can monitor things with technology. You can monitor things with technology. And then this proof. Electricity, like we've been battling electricity forever. Because the idea is there, but so many successive presidents have spent billions and billions of dollars on electricity. But the follow-up is not there. Follow up and then hold them accountable. So if people know that they are not being held accountable, of course they will relax. And at the end of the day, nothing is done and the project is never done. And then what we go back to the old system and nothing is done, nothing is achieved, and the people suffer. And that is what we are going to correct. Like I said, it's part of what is accountability. First, we are not using groups. Secondly, when we do things, all right, let me give you an example. In the US that you mentioned, when we have what we call the minority. When a contract is given for certain projects, certain conditions are tied with it and said, okay, this project is given to this giant big corporation who can do it. But then they said, now you have to hire 2 minority partners who are going to do it with you. Now, the minority partner, if you do not carry them along, then they become a liability for that project, and then they report you. So that's what we are saying. What we are saying is, when you let individuals slide, then you personalize project. But when you bring in partnership, then projects are not individualized. And once they are not individualized or personalized, it is either they do it as a partner together or they fail together. And usually you will know the source. And then the last one is still goes back to nobody, because Nigerians know that they will not be held responsible. They will not be taken to no court of law. And at the end of the day, they can always bribe a judge or bribe their way out. So with these things, they take like a desiccated attitude or lukewarm attitude to it that, hey, if I don't do it, what's going to happen? I've heard of people taking contract monies and go and marry many wives with it, and nothing happened to them. So if your neighbor does that, it's automatically you want to follow suit, and now it's beginning to encroach our society. But I can tell you, under Save Nigeria Congress, once we get in, accountability is a very major thing. We will drag a lot of people to court, but I tell you, they will find the courts different, because we will sanitize the judiciary system. If the laws are on the books are thrown at you, in the US that you say, do you know that even Wall Street executives are held accountable? Most of them are dragged to court by the FBI or by the attorneys. Those things are not here. And then, again, our judiciary systems needs to be separated and independent. We need to have the prosecuting department separate from the arresting department, so that when the police arrest, then they hand you over to the prosecutor. Then they are out of it. Those will do the investigation and send you to the court. And then when you go to court, you face the judiciary. Our judges I don't know, but I believe they must have not been paid enough, because politicians do influence sometimes these things, and that is all the things. We want incorruptible judges. So those areas are part of what we are looking into to strengthen the economy and to stop corruption in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That bothers me is that after independence, we have 5 political parties, major. We have so many, but major ones. They have distinct ideologies. I remember we have the MPN, we have the UPN, we have the PRP, Balarabe Musa, I think we have the AMPP, which was Nnamdi Azikiwe. We have the, there's one other party like that, but we used to have distinct ideology. But today we have, prior to the registration of SNC and 23 other parties, we had 68 political parties. All of them have the same ideologies. But if you look at the constitution of Save Nigeria Congress, our ideology is distinct. We are a conservative Democrat. It is well spelled out, the ideology, conservative Democrat. Why are we conservative Democrats? As conservative, we like to have fiscal policies that are not in debt. We like to conserve funds, especially Nigerian funds. We love to bring down our debts or pay off our debts and have good fiscal policies so that we can have good federal reserves, and then we can bring our dollar back. If possible, the naira should be above the dollar. The Democrats that you will see, because I told you it's conservative Democrat, is because we have programs that includes welfare and a little bit of social services. So we are neither Democrats, nor we are extreme. We are not extreme right, we are not extreme left, we are conservative Democrats. Conservative Democrats because our government is going to be very prudent, it's going to be conservative, but our policies and our practice is going to be democratic. So while we are giving out welfare services and social services, at the same time we are balancing our budget. So Save Nigeria Congress is the only party that I see at this time that has a clear-cut ideology and its agenda tailored towards these ideologies, such that we can have a fiscal policy in place that is very conservative and a democratic social policy programs that can benefit the people and can move us from where we are to an advanced nation. So that is why I am calling on all Nigerians to join the Save Nigerian Congress. Join me in saving Nigeria now. Join me in eradicating poverty. Join me in eradicating hunger. Join me in providing huge millions and millions of employment for the youth. Even for those that are retired, if they want to go back to enjoy some good benefits, because most of them retired without benefits. We need to look into this. Those are the kind of things that we want to do. Join me in providing security for lives and property. Everybody should go home and sleep comfortably. We used to have a country where people sleep without locking their doors, without putting bars on their windows, without having walls like prison in their houses. We need to go back to that Nigeria. That is what Save Nigeria wants to do. Join me in building infrastructure, in building world health hospitals, in building world-class hospitals, hospitals that we do not have to travel out before we can get treatment. Cancer centers, dialysis centers, all this will be built and managed. Join me in agriculture. Join me in providing free education at all levels. Join me in having a Nigerian that is vibrant, that we can use for tourism, that the world can be buying tickets and be rushing to Nigeria. Dubai is not, when did Dubai developed? Dubai now is where every Nigerians go. Why can't everyone comes to Nigeria? We need to do that. We used to go to the Bahamas, we used to go to Dubai, no, the next phase should be Nigeria. Nigeria should be the most attractive country in the world. And we can do it. We have the resources, both material, financial, and human. You just have to manage them. Now, Save Nigeria Congress can match the financial with the human and the material resources. Once we put them together in the right position, right perspective, I tell you, it's like magic. And I will be remembered for that as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I saved Nigeria, my party saved Nigeria, and the Nigerian people joined me together in saving Nigeria. I welcome you as you join Save Nigeria Congress. Go to your nearest local government office, join Save Nigeria, and let us join SNC and let us save Nigeria together. Together, Nigeria can rise again. Nigeria can rise again, I believe, 2019.